What's going on, guys? It is January 13th, 2020. Happy Monday to you all. Welcome back to the channel. Big Cloud here once again. So I know a lot of you guys are looking at the intro of this video and saying, is that the PlayStation 5, loading screen? Unfortunately, it is not, unfortunately. I just wanted to throw that in there for you guys just to surprise you with something. That actually goes courtesy to the individual by the name of Apollo Manson Animation. I'll have a link to his channel in the comment section for you guys up top. You guys go check him out. He actually made this, and what's pretty cool about this too, and it actually shows credits to how well he did this, he actually made it to DualShockers, and I'll have the full link to that article as well as everything else that we're about to go over in the description below so you guys can check it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the top stories real quick. So I was on Reddit. Some people recommend I go check out Reddit because this story was actually getting a little bit of heat, and this particular story was definitely interesting to say the least. I didn't drop a video for you guys yesterday because, well, I kind of was gaming and I kind of lost track of time, but I figured I would drop it all in today's video along with some other things for you. So there was a rumor that was leaked in August of 2019 that confirmed that a February 12th, 2020 PS5 reveal was indeed going to happen this year. And there is more credits to it as you think about it, because you go back to that particular article, it's actually been surprisingly taken down, as I can't find it anywhere, but I do have the full snippet for you guys as they took it and actually posted on Reddit. So here's what they had to say. Among the information received from a former senior marketing manager of PlayStation with an email for the company's general marketing managers, there is also information regarding the planning of the next PlayStation Meeting 2020, the final planning of the PlayStation Meeting 2020, and the details of the event with the company's marketing team and the general planning and organization of this event, which began during the first company meeting in June 2019, have not yet been completed. However, a date for this event has already been identified internally as a result of the last company meeting, and this has given way to the start that the initial preparations for the final details of the event, starting with the sending of numerous invitations to some of the biggest software houses, including Activision, Square Enix, Ubisoft, EA, etc. The event is currently scheduled for the 12th of February 2020, and the presentation will aim to present the future of Sony PlayStation to the whole world with the revelation of the company's new console, the PlayStation 5. And that's what they had to say in the snippet. Now, again, the actual article for this I cannot find anywhere, but I will have a link to the Reddit post. You guys can check this out. It's right there on the side, okay? Again, This actually makes sense to me. Again, makes sense to me because you guys know CES has passed. We didn't really get nothing hardly related to PlayStation 5, like I figured. But we didn't even get the announcement for this. So go figure. They did show off the banner, and then they made headlines on Instagram as being the most liked and the most viewed picture in terms of gaming on Instagram. So they made some headlines through that, but they didn't necessarily announce the actual show. So that's all you got at CES 2020. So this actually kind of does line up to what a lot of us have been saying. February definitely seems like to be the month that we're going to get the official reveal of everything that we are definitely waiting for PlayStation 5. And it's pretty much a no-brainer at this point. Of course, we heard the rumors that Sony might not go to E3. So this particular event might be a little different since Microsoft already showed their hand and showed the actual console design of the Xbox Series X. So you might actually see the full thing. I would not put it past them at this point, but something tells me they probably wouldn't do that. They'll probably stick to the same strategy. They'll show off the new controller. They'll show off some gameplay, and then they'll just show off the new haptic feedback, type of adjustments that they can do as, developers, have more developers on stage showing off the potential games. And of course, you're going to have those insane, close-up shots of how well the visuals look compared to what we have now. I can see this stuff happening for sure. There was one particular rumor that also was added to this. It involved Assassin's Creed. However, if I'm not mistaken, that was debunked. But it was talking about the new Assassin's Creed that's going to be coming out. Supposedly is going to be at this meeting. And as you guys already seen it right here in this article that I'm reading to you, Ubisoft. I got mixed up. Ubisoft is also going to be here, so it would not put it past me if Assassin's Creed is at the event along with whatever else they have planned for the actual games in the show. Again, February 12th, 2020 seems likely. I would definitely put a little faith into that, but it was also pretty interesting too. And I want to give a shout out to Fox Games UK because he said this on the RGT podcast in our last show that we did. Which shout out to everybody who came through. It was definitely a good show. If you guys missed it, it's on the channel. Timestamps are up and everything. Shout out to Savage Lobo for putting those out there. Thank you. So you guys can check that out and listen. It was definitely a good show. Trust me, we went through a lot of this, and not surprised at all. Not surprised. But to continue, now, I kind of figured we would get to this point. Microsoft announced, or it was reported that Microsoft will not have any Xbox Series X exclusives for the console at the launch of the console. Now, again, this does not surprise me. In fact, it shouldn't surprise anybody, to be honest with you. We talked about this on RGT a little bit, but we kind of brushed past it because we were kind of done talking about this type of stuff. But I'll add a little bit to this because a lot of you asked me how come I didn't really add much to it. So let me add a little snippet to this, okay? To be honest with you, right? When you look at the situation outside of the console war mentality, you actually see what Microsoft's really doing. Microsoft pretty much made it clear that they weren't going to have hardly any exclusives at the start of this gen with them to begin with. Granted, all games are going to be pushing PC. The Xbox Series X is just going to be a powerful equivalent to the average consumer who does not wish to buy a PC. That's pretty much it. In terms of exclusive games, Microsoft is not really locked in on that philosophy to sell the console. Their main source of selling the console and trying to get you in the ecosystem is really Game Pass. That's kind of been the whole thing and the whole shtick for Microsoft's system. When you look at the console, again, the console is just going to be there as an option to play it at higher performance than what we have right now. And that's kind of going to be the selling point that they're going to try to show with the Xbox One X to the Xbox Series X. They're going to go, okay, this has a better performance. This can do 4K natively, true 4K all the way, no issues, blah, blah, blah. And of course, it can support 8K in the future. And that's kind of going to be the selling point at this point. It does not surprise me that they don't have any exclusives. It doesn't surprise me that they won't be pushing for exclusives at all. It's just a matter of, where you want to play. And that's really what's going to come down to, where you want to play for Microsoft. That they made that abundantly clear at the start of this generation or near the end of this generation that that's going to be the start of where they're going to be going with this. So if you guys are interested in PC gaming, hey, go for PC gaming. That's pretty much where you're going to be. For a lot of you, are going to be. If you guys are interested in that type of stuff, you're going to get there. But if you're still into Xbox, you're still going to have Series X. And, of course, you're going to have the Lockhart system. We don't know how much Lockhart's going to be, but we know Lockhart is also coming. So that's what's going on there. Now, what made it a little worse, though, is that Matt Booty came out. And with Matt Booty's comments, his recent comments, only added more to the fanboy war. And you guys already know. He basically said that they're not competing with Sony. Again, we know this. Those of us who do research and talk about this stuff, we know that they're not competing with Sony. That's just a given. They competed with Sony for 2 straight generations. Okay? Well, technically, yeah, it would be 3 generations, but you get what I'm saying. If you go back, it was 2 straight generations, and they came up short. This will be the 3rd going into Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. They failed and came up short. Last generation with the Xbox 360 versus the PlayStation 3, The 360 dominated the entire generation for the majority of it. They dominated. They had it all. They had the games. They had the software. They had the proper, you know, the proper start. You think about it. Sony waited a full year until after Xbox release to release the PlayStation 3, and a numerous amount of things plagued that systems and its success, and that right there fell into Microsoft's benefit. They dominated all last generation. I do agree though, if Microsoft or if Sony did not screw up in that regard and had a proper launch like the 360, I do believe it would have been a lot smoother for them in the long run, and they probably would have overtaken it too at this point. But at the same time, you can't knock the success of the 360. 360 had games, right? They had the new additions to their studios. You know, Gears of War was introduced. There was a lot of cool stuff that was introduced at that time, but unfortunately, Microsoft fell into the similar tropes that you guys see currently. And that basic trope is that they only focus and prioritize 3 games. Halo, Gears, and Forza. Halo, Gears, and Forza last generation generated so much profit for them, so much profit and revenue, it was insane. They brought in so much money for those 3 games alone that, in all honesty, it makes sense for them to continue pushing those games into next gen, right? This generation and then go into Series X. But at the same time, it just shows that when you push those same games, those same experiences, and you don't offer nothing new, people get what's called gamer fatigue. And that's what you saw with a lot of gamers this generation when it came to Microsoft. Believe it or not, a lot of people want new experiences. Microsoft did not deliver that many new experiences. Now, granted, the Xbox 360 had the Alan Wakes, they had the Left 4 Deads. I'm not talking about the 360 gen, obviously. 360, they didn't have this problem. They had variety, they had games. But Xbox One, we got to be honest with ourselves at this point. We're about to go into another generation. We have to be really honest here. There was no variety here this generation. There was no variety. And the games that we thought had potential, right, pretty much got shafted away. They weren't even treated as like a priority to improve upon. Now imagine Sony did that with the PlayStation 3. Remember, Uncharted 1. It looked good at the time. It looked amazing at the time. It was a cool concept, right? Unfortunately, Uncharted 1 was not the blockbuster that Sony needed at that time. It didn't work at first. The first one, that is, it didn't work. What did Sony do? They went back to the drawing board. They had them work on that studio and really push that next-gen experience. And you got Uncharted 2. And Uncharted 2 led to one of the greatest comebacks that we've seen in a long time for a generation. PlayStation 3 came back just from Uncharted alone. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There are games that Microsoft have that have potential, but unfortunately, they're not pushed in the way that makes sense to push those games and push the hardware and push the console and the platform. There's a lot of games there. Quantum Break. I think Quantum Break, if you cut the TV show out and you really just go back to the drawing board, Quantum Break could be an awesome experience, especially for Series X. This should be a top priority to get out there on the market and push that console. I'm just saying, Alan Wake should have already happened. Tons of games should have happened. Banjo-Kazooie. People have been asking for Banjo-Kazooie. These things should have happened. But unfortunately, they're not happening. And that's where a lot of people are just at this wall. And they don't want to climb over this wall because it's like, why should we? There's not much there. So hopefully that comes across a little bit more better for you as opposed to me saying something crazy like it just sucks. I'm not even going to say that. I'm being mature here. I'm just being honest with you. There's not that many experiences for Xbox, and there's no denying that. But to go back to what Matt Booty said about the Xbox Series X versus PlayStation 5, here's his statement. First of all, Sony's done a fantastic job just across the board in terms of what they've done with building an audience, selling consoles, obviously, a number of amazing, great games that have come out of their first-party teams. I try to stay away from framing things as a head-to-head bout with Sony. Instead, I think that is just up to us to focus on the 3 things. First of all, we need to deliver on the promises that we make. So if we say a game is going to ship at a certain time, we got to get that done. I couldn't agree more with that statement. To continue, We just need to get better at executing. We need to make sure that we hold the bar high on quality and that we're releasing games that we can be proud of and that the fans can be proud of as Xbox exclusives. And then lastly, we need to continue building characters, stories, and worlds that can transcend generations, devices, and platforms. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. They definitely need more games that show off that leap, but also push the boundaries of play. And I've said this entire generation. Now, granted, a lot of people didn't want to listen because I was in the fanboy war type of thing, but best believe I told you I am not doing that particular content. Instead, I am just being open with you. And that right there is the problem that Microsoft had this entire generation. Will they answer it with the Xbox Series X? I'll see you guys discuss that in the comment section below, because unfortunately, that brings us to the end of yet another video. I want to say shout out to everybody that's new to this channel. Thank you guys so much. A lot of new faces. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. I do appreciate y'all. If you enjoyed this video, definitely make sure you hit that like button. It really does help the channel grow. More so than you can even imagine. It really does. So thank you for that. To all the new people who are listening, I highly recommend you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon for all notifications, because there's a lot to go over and it's going to be a hell of a year for 2020. As far as me uploading after this, I won't upload another video after this because it's kind of thundering. But if you guys are interested, I'll be on Primetime Gaming with my good friend Double Barrel Gaming, talk about a few things. So it's going to be fun. So if you guys are interested, I'll see you guys over there. But until then, until next time, this is Big Cloud Gaming. I want you all to have a good one, and I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys be good. Later.